I'm one of your co-hosts, Myra.
And it's your boy, Desi Dez.
And it's your boy, Mojo, in the building today. And we got a very special one again. Go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am. Let the people know who you are.
Hi, my name is Onyi. Hi, guys.
How you doing?
You said Oni?
Onyi, yeah.
Now, you just said it all modest and whatnot, Onyi, but let's not sugarcoat the shit. Yeah, let's not sugarcoat it. You popping out here in these streets. You know, let's not sugarcoat it. You popping. Go ahead and pop your collar. Now, you are A&R, extraordinaire, correct?
Actually, no. So a lot of people think I'm an A&R, but what I do is a lot, like, it has a couple A&R functions, but what I like to call what I do is more so artist development.
Okay. I feel a lot of people missing it.
They are.
Okay. And before we get into you being A&R artist development, how did you get into that field?
Well, actually, I'm from St. Louis. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Mm-hmm.
You knew?
Yeah. I think you was. I think I seen some stuff where you said you. I know you said you went to Florissant Valley or whatnot. You from Florissant?
Yeah. I'm from Florissant. Well, I grew up in Blackjack, really.
Okay.
But my parents, they moved to Florissant, like I went to Hazelwood Central.
Okay.
Hazelwood. So, Hazelwood. But basically when I started, like I was probably like 16, 17 years old, and I just knew I wanted to either like have a label, work in music business, and you know, I had a couple like friends who were rappers, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna manage y'all. So that was kind of like my first taste, and it didn't really go very well, but that was like one of the first ways I started. And then what's the radio station? Is 104.1, right?
Yeah, 104.1.
So I interned up there for at least like a year, maybe like a year. And I met a lot of great people. Like back in the day, like probably around 2010, I did like so many commercials. You probably didn't even know it was me. Like I used to do like the little copies, and I'd met the what you call it? Because at the time I wanted to be like a personality, you know, and this kind of goes into like kind of what the theme of what you guys said the show is that, you know, the lady who was the operations manager, she, you know, they always take like a person from out of town and bring them in to, you know, change things up. And she was just like, oh, you know, I know you want to be a personality, but it doesn't really, not that it doesn't pay that much, you know, there's a lot of opportunity with it, but you could be so much more. Like you have so much more skills. Like she's like, have you ever thought about like just being in music business, like behind the scenes and like as a manager, as a this, as a that, as a thing, because I feel like you have that gift to be able to tap in with people. So, you know, I started off in St. Louis. I went to college for like, it feels like a week. I told my parents I switched schools. I didn't. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad. I lied to y'all. And I moved to New York. I'd never been there a day in my life. And I just thugged it out. I got hired at Warner Brothers at the time, because now that's Atlantic. They're Atlantic Records now, but it was Warner Brothers Urban Department, because at that time Atlantic didn't actually have like a real urban department. And I got hired as an intern, and that's how I started. Like that's how my journey started at a very young, fresh age. I was 19. I had never traveled at that time except for one place, but I'd never been to New York, which if you've ever been, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to New York, but it's completely different than St. Louis, like 1000%.
Yeah.
100%. So, and I didn't know anybody.
What was that like, making that transition from a small market, a slower city, to being out there in the hustle and bustle, you know, the fast talkers, the people that's on their grind, everybody on their hustle,
fast talkers,
everybody selling dreams, and you're out there, you're 19 years old at the time, correct?
Hey, it's your boy Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo. And if you like what you are seeing so far, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the page. Please. And if all else fails and you like what you talking about as far as this merch wise, baby, hit us up. You know what I'm saying? Check us out on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook at TwistedYounginz with a Z. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you give us an email at twistedyoungins@gmail.com for all promotions.
Where's it at twistedyoungins@gmail.com?
Yes, sir, with a Z. And also, if y'all don't like what you see right now as far as merch-wise, we got more merch, and we also do your merch.
Do your merch,
Send us in a couple
support
designs.
everybody.
Yeah, and we do promotional packages, interviews, videos, articles, whatever you guys need, man. Just make sure you hit us up. Holla at you, baby.
Yeah.
So what was that transition like? How did you fit in with it? How did you catch on to be like, oh, okay, this is what we doing or whatnot?
It was actually like, I've always, for me, I would say it was kind of semi like easy because I've always been a person that like, no matter where I go, I know how to adapt to the situation that I'm in. You know what I mean? As far as like just trying to figure it out, you know? And I think what was a blessing for me was that people saw that I was different and that I was a genuine person and not like the average person you would run into that's a New Yorker. You know what I mean? Like, I just was different and they could feel my energy was just very pure. And I think that really helped me get very far in my career, you know?
Did you struggle out there? Because rent is expensive. You
What?
got 4, 5, 6 roommates. Just
did a big struggle. Hell yeah. Like when I first moved there, I literally lived in the projects. I swear to God, like it was horrible. I swear there was probably rats inside of there. Like
rent was still $1,800 a month, wasn't it?
This is even back in the day. And you got to remember, like for me, when I was in St. Louis, I had a job when I was like 15, 16, I had a job. Then I started interning at the thing. So, and I just told myself like, don't worry about the money. Like money was never really anything that I really thought about. And it's weird when I like in retrospect, I'm like, damn, like, but it just wasn't that important back then to me. I don't know. Like, I feel like now we're all in a stage where everybody's like, oh, get money. And obviously some people have always been get money individuals, but I was more so like, I cared about my passion. Like, I just felt like my passion. I don't give a fuck if I'm doing my passion for free, for $1, for $100, whatever it was. Like, I just felt like follow my passion and the money will one day come. That's what I kind of just put into my mind, you know? But it was a struggle. Like luckily this is what happened. My cousin, he married a girl from New York. She was from New York, but she had moved to St. Louis. So she has a strong New York accent, you know, shout out to her. I love her to death because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. But she literally was like, yo, I got a cousin. My uncle lives out there. And my little sister, she's a twin. Go stay with them. Like, just, I'm gonna tell my parents, I'm like, just back me up. Like, I wrote my parents like this whole dissertation of why I needed to move to New York and do all this shit. Cause they were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know? And my dad, he literally bought my ticket to New York as a joke. And I think he might've given me like $200. Literally, he gave me $200 fucking dollars to move to a new city. I had no money.
Right.
So, and your parents Nigerian, right?
Yeah, my parents are from Nigeria. So you can already imagine like those stereotypes of what they say about African parents. Like, this was not, they didn't want this from me. Like, they literally, like, they did it as a joke because they thought like, oh, she's gonna go to New York and she's gonna come running, crying home. No, sorry, wrong one. So she got me with her uncle, and it was rough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very, very rough because it's like, this is not like gentrified New York, like the way that it is now. This was like, it was hood as fuck, you know?
What part were you in?
So I lived in East New York. So East New York is like Brownsville. It's like a rough area in Brooklyn, you know?
Mike Tyson.
Now it's not really like that anymore per se, because like I said, gentrification is happening rampantly, you know, throughout the entire US, but you already know how it is. They try and get Black people out the hood, people who've been living inside of buildings for forever to get it to rent it out to more high privilege, you know,
high class,
you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it was rough. I ain't gonna lie, it was rough. And then I had an auntie, right? She was a doctor. Okay. She lived in the Bronx. Bro. I went to go stay with her for like a month because it was like a little bit closer to my job. I couldn't even last a month with her. She was fucking crazy. But anyway, every day I would leave to go, you know, to my internship. Like, she would, like, people would offer me crack. That's how crazy it was. Like just to put it in your mind, like how rough it was. And just remember, coming from St. Louis, like, see, East St. Louis is a lot different than, you know, than like the suburbs, but it was just not like that. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's like you live in your neighborhood, you lived in your, like almost every single person that lived in my neighborhood, they've been living there for 50 million years. Like it's the same kids, the same everything. So it was rough, you know what I mean? Because obviously as they expanded the neighborhood, different people will come, but it's nothing like that New York hustle and bustle and just, you know, rampant drug use. Like people, you know, crack hit New York very hard. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but yeah.
How did you get your did you want
to? What was your job title at Warner Brother?
Okay, so initially I started off as an intern. So what I did was, it was this boy named Alex. He had hired me because I made my resume like 5 pages long, and he thought it was hilarious. He's like, yo, I actually just had to hire you because I just thought it was hilarious that you had a 5-page resume. Because obviously I didn't know at that time, you know, you're young, you don't know, like your resume is only supposed to be 1 page. I didn't know. So he was like, so I started off in digital, actually. So I started off in digital, and then I just used my opportunity. Like, okay, yeah, I worked in digital, but I made it my business to know every single head of every department, every assistant, every single person, and I just built relationships with them. So when I was done with my digital work, I would go to marketing and say, hey, do you guys need help with anything? Or I would go to the other VP of marketing and be like, hey, do you guys need anything? I would go to their assistants and be like, hey, whatever you need, I'll do it for you. You need me to go get your lunch. You need me to, you know, walk all the way to fucking 8th Street to get you Jamba Juice. I don't care. Whatever it took to build the relationships and to build their trust, you know? And even like, I was always like the first person there, the last person to leave. I don't care. Like, in a lot of labels, the way it is like, all right, let's say it's a label head. So like, for example, Warner Brothers is the parent, is the umbrella company. So underneath the umbrella company, you'll have like Asylum, you'll have Atlantic, you'll have just a bunch of, you know, the labels that are underneath that. You probably, if you don't know anything about music, you probably think they just are on their own, but every major label is under an umbrella company, like Sony, like Universal, like, you know, those kind of things. So a lot of the time, like level 6 might be Warner, 7 might be Asylum. So I just would, like, you know, they would come down and talk to each other. So as, you know, you just build different relationships, you go upstairs like, oh, hey, what you guys got going on up here? Let me, you know, let's see what's happening. And that's how I met people like, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but his name is Nigel Talley. As an intern, like I literally got an A&R credit on Currency's album. This was like so long ago, but it was a dope experience. And I only got to do that because I just went above and beyond just trying to build relationships with everybody that was around me.
Yeah, Nigel Talley is a relationship to build.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite people in the world. I literally we just worked together on some Dugg stuff, like, you know, so it's crazy. Like it's literally the same people, literally.
Yeah.
Can you explain, like, for the people that'll be watching, what is an A&R? Like a lot of people just think, oh, you just discover talent or you may help develop it, but that sounds simple, but it comes with a lot as well.
To me, I feel like, especially like someone who is there's so many different types of A&Rs, right? There's A&Rs that I like to call connectors, where they may not know how to like tell you what beat to pick or what, you know, but they know how to connect you. Like, oh, you should do a song with DaBaby, or you should do a song with Raw Youngin because he's coming up and it fits with your fan base. And then you have your A&Rs who pick beats, who sign producers, who help you put together records. And then I don't know, like I feel like to me an A&R, like a true A&R, like a great A&R is really like a overall just a therapist, a coach, a music putter together. Because it's just like it's like you you and your A&R help formulate what the world is going to hear from you. You know what I mean? So I just feel like in this day and age, I feel like marketing and A&R have really like crossed paths, and almost every great A&R has vision. Like that's the most important thing, is vision. A&Rs, they're supposed to be able to see things way before anybody else could see it. It's just like, okay, like I'll give you an example. Like, well, actually, no, I won't give you that example. But basically, I have a friend. She's an A&R. Way before one of the biggest artists in the world is who he is now. She saw that 8 years ago. You know what I mean? They didn't want to sign him at the time, but he's literally probably one of the top 3 artists in the music business right now. You know what I mean? And it takes a special person to be able to see something in its raw form without any developing, without the, you know, the shiny jewelry or the anything, to be able to know, okay, no, this person really has the ability to be something.
Who is the artist?
I can't tell you that.
Oh,
but it is.
Lamar. She said top 3, so it's Kendrick Lamar.
No, Kendrick Lamar is number 1.
And definitely
no, not top 3, not top 3, not top 3. I'm talking about, let's say, top 3 numbers wise this year, like.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, you talking about Post Malone?
Not like literally like my personal.
Talking about Post Malone?
Billie Eilish. She's more Billie Eilish.
No, her name is Billie Eilish.
Billie
Eilish. I ain't gonna keep messing with you.
This guy manages her.
So,
okay.
With being an A&R and artist development and everything that you're talking about, how hard is that to manage when you have to deal with the manager who doesn't want to deal with an A&R? Because I know you have to have some sort of relationship with the manager to, like you said, be in charge of the, like you said, you're pretty much the coach, you know, the management business. You're the therapist. You're in the studio every day. You're there probably more than the manager is. Some A&Rs are probably. So, I mean, how is that?
Well, for me, okay, so like I said, for me, it's a little bit different, right? Because let's just say with somebody like, how do I say? Like, okay, it's different for me because I'm more like on the marketing development side of things. So I'm working closely with whoever's A&R. Like, I usually don't have like kind of like issues like that because it's all about collective energy. We all want the same thing. We want, the manager like, the only time you really have like issues like that is when you have an artist that's usually on the come up and they have a manager who thinks they know more than what the fuck they know, and they don't know shit. You know what I mean? So it's just, and at that point, you're only hurting your artist. You're not hurting me.
That sounds like a common thing though, right? Like manager.
Yeah, I mean, like I've like, you know, I don't know if you guys know, but, you know, I own like an entire digital marketing business where all I do is help artists develop digitally, right? Just like helping putting them on different platforms, like, you know, all the big hip hop platforms, right? And helping them create content. And a lot of the time I've dealt with situations where like the manager, like they're trying to hold on so tight to their artists because they don't want to get left behind. But the thing that they don't understand is that I'm here to help you. I own no equity in anything you have going on. I'm just here to guide you and to help you. But sometimes people don't realize, like, especially with managers, like, you have to learn. Like, you have to, the only way you're going to be a great manager is through experience. There's not one way to manage, or there's not one. And that's why I always like try and tell people, like, bro, they're in this music shit. This is not like, you know, okay, let's say you want to jump a car, you put the things on the thing, and that's how it goes every time. With music, it's completely different. Like, it's not like that. Like, one person's way of success, maybe one kid made it big on YouTube and that was the end of it. But maybe that's not your way. Maybe your path is you got to make it in the streets first. And then, you know, there's just not one way. It's not one formula of being great, you know?
That's a fact.
Could you talk to me about being a woman in the industry? And it seems like you wear a lot of hats.
There's a lot of sleaze bags.
Right. And not to mention that you also, as a woman in the industry and also as an entrepreneur, you're running your own digital marketing platform that you were just discussing about. How is that being a woman in the industry? I feel like as women, sometimes you may have to work three or four times harder than the next person. You may not get all your credit right away. You know, sometimes I've heard women say sometimes some of their ideas have got taken. They couldn't speak up for themselves. Like, what is that like?
You know, it's funny when people ask me questions like this, because it's like, for me, I love being a woman in music business. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe the reason why I feel that way is because of the women before me who have all been bosses. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it laid a good foundation. And also I had the pleasure and the blessing of working with men that respect women. Like, I haven't, thank God I haven't. And I know there's people out there who are, you know, who are janky as hell. We all know that. But like, I've been blessed with every single man, every single boss that I've ever had has always been an advocate for women. You know what I mean? From Nigel to Gotti to like Mel to Lonnie, all these people that I'm naming, these are like executives at different labels. They've always been supportive of me. They've always been supportive of my homegirls that are all, you know, just like me, who are executives at labels, A&Rs at label. We've only been really lifted up by our male counterparts. And like I say, it is hard being a woman sometimes, because, you know, you do have to demand your respect. Yeah. But what I will say is that, like, if you put your best foot forward and you out the gate, you let people know you must be respected, most people don't really have a choice but to respect it.
Okay, because you just explained that you really haven't went through that, but do you know of some people who missed out on opportunities because they didn't go with how things were supposed to go? Like,
they weren't trying to do no sexual favors to get to the top. Let's just,
No, I never heard of no shit like that. Like, as far as, like, see, because look, right? And I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because I know it does, right? I know it does. But it's just like, I don't know. Like, no, like, like, me personally, like, my homegirls that I know, like, maybe a guy might have, like, just tried to hit on them or something, but they shut that shit down immediately, to where a person's not even gonna say nothing else to them, because it's like, all right, hell no, I'm not. Mm-hmm. It's not the one. But you got to understand, like, when people say the music industry, right, I always find that to be like very funny terminology, because bro, there's like a lot of music industries going on. Like, there's like levels to it, you know? So I would say where that foolery goes on is like in the lower level, because it's like, you really don't even want to, like, I don't know. And it's different, like I said, for me, because technically, like, I work in the streets. That's what I would say. Like, I don't work at an actual label to where it's like, okay, hey, you go to work with your coworkers. Like, the way that my shit is like, I'm in the streets. So like, when I'm with Gotti, and we're doing what we doing, you know? And then when I'm working on my digital projects or whatever artists I'm working with in the meantime, in between time, they know that they have to respect me, you know? So that's just what it is.
So you said as more of your job is like artist development, more of a marketing aspect, correct? Mm-hmm. So how do you and you're talking about marketing projects, right?
Correct. Marketing projects, marketing singles, artists, or just narrative. That's like a big thing for me.
Great. I love that. So how do you I know each project, each single is different. How do you put the plan together? How do you figure out, okay, this is what's right for this artist. Their target may be here. They may like drinking Coca-Cola, or demographic may be here. Does it entail more of that, or just stuff like, let's just put this, like, how do you put the whole plan together because each artist, each single is different, or is there?
How do you find the artists? Like, you working with new artists or artists that's already been in the game?
Okay, so it's a mix of both. So I might have someone like Pusha T might call and say, Oni, hey, I just signed a new artist. can you help me put together some marketing, we want to do some digital stuff, then I'll formulate some stuff for him. Or Gotti might say, hey Oni, I just signed a brand new artist, I want to do this, I want to do that. So, or somebody might reach out to me on the internet that's an indie and say, hey Oni, I don't know what to do, I have a album ready, I don't know, like, should I do Spotify playlisting, should I do Instagram? Like, so it's a multitude of different things. But the first piece of advice that I'll give to anybody who is an artist or somebody who is a marketer is you have to understand and find out, one, what's your narrative, and two, who do you speak to? Like, who receives the messages that you're giving? And it doesn't matter who that person is. Don't try and look for a specific person as far as like, oh, I want to talk to this person. No, be true to yourself. I always say that. That's the best thing. I know that's so cliche, but you should be true to yourself and figure out who you speak to. That's what I do. Like, I help, like, when any artist I work with, I really get to know them. Like, especially like on the digital side, like, I'll usually ask them a million questions. Like, have you ever been to jail? Have you ever, what have you been through in your life? Like, just different things that formulate that narrative and build that story of who they are. And that's what you have to lead with. You know what I mean? You have to figure out what's that thing that's going to be like, oh, wow. Because let's say you're putting out a new video. All right, so-and-so puts out a new video. Who fucking cares? You know what I mean? A million people have put out videos. But maybe if you see something that's like interesting about that person, and maybe it's not even the video first. So you guys want me to give away my tricks, okay? But I'm just saying.
Give them away. Give them away. Come on.
Give
away. We need something. Give away.
Like,
people need to see it. Give it away.
Yeah, like, you have to build that narrative. That's all I'm gonna say. You have to build that narrative. You have to build that story, and then you also have to market your music, So it just depends. And a lot of time I really do feel like a lot of people believe that there's like a one-trick pony. They always bring up people like 6ix9ine, like, oh, 6ix9ine, he did all this theatrical shit and da-da-da. But at the end of the day, like, I don't fuck with 6ix9ine, but the music was still there too. It was a mix. Like, it wasn't like, oh, all theatrics and shitty music. No, this man was streaming billions of streams for a reason, because the music was connecting, You
ever had a project that didn't work out, that wasn't successful, that you've worked on, that you've marketed and you've had to figure out another way to kind of push it?
I would say, like, on the indie level, like, obviously when you're working indie projects, like, you're not getting first week numbers or you're not getting any of those things. But me personally, I don't really care about stuff like that, because at the end of the day, especially when you're a brand new artist, nothing is old or nothing is bad until everyone, like, it's not used up until everyone in the world has heard it. Like, I'm not sure if you guys remember Miguel's record Sure Thing.
Yeah. Yes.
That song was out for like 5 years before it ever did anything. You know what I mean? So I don't really I never any project that I specifically worked on, like, as far as marketing is concerned. No, like, all my projects have done pretty well. And if it didn't connect, that really didn't have anything to necessarily, not say do with me, but it was more so maybe just the music. But I really can't remember a project that I ever worked on that didn't really do well.
Would you keep it real if the music wasn't good? Like, hey, like
yes.
you said,
keep your budget in your pocket.
Yeah, no, there's been plenty of times where, like, let's say I'm talking to, let's say Gotti, and I tell him, I'm like, hey, with one of the artists, like, all right, I personally don't like this. You know what I mean? And it's like I said, it's depending on who I'm working with, it's there. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I have really been blessed. Like, and I'm really just thinking about it in my mind, like, as you guys are asking these questions, because sometimes when you're going through the motions of things, you're just going through them and you're not really like taking a step back to really think about it, because no one really asks, until I do something like this, someone really asks, like, okay, then it takes me to think, like, damn, like, I really have worked on some amazing projects in my life, you know what I'm saying? And I've worked on some so not amazing projects, but usually those kind of janky kind of projects come from like people in the streets, like artists that are trying to,
Hey, why they gotta be janky?
It's a little janky, but I try and tell them, I'll be like, if they ask me when I'm doing my digital business, if they ask me my opinion on what I feel about their music, I will tell them the truth, right? But I also try and tell them too that what I personally feel doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I'm not your target demographic. Your target demo are people that in the streets that you're trying to, and when I say streets, I just mean people, you know? That's the people that you're trying to reach. They're going to be the ones to tell you. It's not me. It's not my job to do it. My job is to be unbiased. My job is to put myself in the shoes of somebody that would want to fuck with your music and find them for you. That's my job, you know?
So when an artist, an indie artist hit you up in a DM, what kind of budget does he need to have?
So for me, the reason why I even started a digital marketing company, because back in the day, you know, PR was like expensive as hell. Like you couldn't even get a fucking PR. You know, you could it just was impossible. Like it was impossible. They wanted thousands of dollars in hopes that maybe they'll land you something. That's the reason why I really hated, sorry, somebody just called me. That's why I hated PR, because it was like, I'm paying you in the hopes. But the great thing about digital is, all right, if I tell you I'm putting you on a blog or I call them blogs, but Instagram platforms, you're getting on that fucking platform. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But like, I work with everybody's budget. Like that's one thing about me. Like whatever a person comes to me with, I'll tell them, look, I'm going to manage your expectations, but we will always figure something out, because I already know, like when you're an artist, and I know where I came from, but when you're an artist, like sometimes the budget just always isn't there, but it's better to do something than nothing. That's what I think. You know what I mean? It's better to just do a little something. So I don't turn anybody down. I've never turned down a client for not having, you know, enough. Like obviously, you know, been in music for a long time, been doing digital for a long time. So yes, my services can get very expensive, but it is well worth it. But I work with everybody on every level. I've worked with the smallest artists to the biggest artists in the world.
With the smaller artists, do you when you all work out the budget, whatever, do you put a plan together, like, okay, for 2 months I'll do this, 3 months, or just for this week or that week? Like how does that go?
So it depends on what the person has. So like, let's say they have a video and I say, okay, so tell me, what platform is important to you? All right, you want to work on YouTube? Do you want to work on Instagram? Like where? Like as far as like with the smaller budgets, like anybody could call me. This is the good thing about me. Anybody, like an artist, I don't know if you guys saw my last post on Instagram where on my birthday, like I literally was like, I want to just give back some more. And I put my real phone number.
I thought that was one of those automated, well, you know. But I saw that. I was like, that's dope. A lot of people don't do that.
That's the number we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay. Cause I'm like everybody getting these numbers now. Like, you know, P Diddy text me and they said text me.
It's out there.
But that's good. I saw that. I'm like, man, that's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I literally, that's my real number, girl. Like if you would have texted me from an iPhone, you would have got that blue bubble.
Okay.
But like I try, like I'm not supposed to do it, but if they call and they ask me, okay, Oni, what you think, I'm always gonna say it. It's just in me. I love it so much that like a person could really drain me for some real valuable information, because I can't help myself. Like I'm gonna tell you, all right, now I don't think you should do that, or you should do this, or you should do that. That's just me. And I think that's the reason why I've gotten this far. Huh?
Why you say you're not supposed to?
You can't give a game away for free.
I mean, giving it away for free, charging anyway. Like she said, it ain't like she said charging.
if you hit her up.
If you hit her up, she said she's genuine. You can tell she's genuine too.
Yeah, like if you hit me up and you ask me for advice and I have time to answer, I'm gonna answer. You know what I mean? And that's what I did the day on my birthday. Like I literally took 1 gajillion calls, but I get calls like that every single day. That's what you guys don't understand. I literally get calls of people just asking for help. And you know, the great thing about it, and one of the main reasons why I do it is because I might talk to somebody 6 months ago, and 6 months ago they might not have had the money, but they remember the conversation that they had with me. So when they do get the funds, they call me. and they do the business. So that's why I really don't mind it.
So before we dig deep into the digital thing and everything, where did the relationship at Alamo with Sherry Bryant come from?
Well, Sherry's not at Alamo anymore.
Yeah. Not I'm just saying at that time when y'all was.
Oh, okay. So, well, at the time that I worked with Sherry, Sherry was actually a project manager at Warner Brothers. Like she was either like a VP in marketing, or she'd already been working with Rockefeller back in the day. That's where she started when she was 15. And she was like, I don't know how to explain it. Like she was like a project manager at the time. So in marketing. So that's how I knew her. I've known Sherry probably for like, it's gotta be like 9 years at this point. So I knew her like when she was like younger, you know, like now she's super bossed up, you know?
Yeah.
She like my mom, you know?
You had a question?
No, I got another one.
Okay,
I got another one for her. So you said when you started out managing and whatnot when you were first starting out and everything. Now, did you have any issues when you first started out managing? Like, what was your biggest concern, or what was the biggest problem you had when you first started out? Was it managing the artist, or was it trying to get the artist out to the public? What was the biggest issue?
All right, I'm trying to think, do I want to embarrass myself?
I mean, I'm asking for the conflict of interest. Obviously, we both know what I'm asking about. Like, you were dating one of the artists, right?
Huh?
You were dating one of the artists, right?
Yeah, you did your research. Okay, so at the time when I was like younger, I wouldn't do this at this stage of my career, don't worry. But at the time, I was dating one of the artists, so he didn't want to listen to anything. That's why I just went wrong. But yeah, like that was, but it was very short lived because like they weren't really serious. Like they didn't want to really rap for real. Like they were just playing around with it, which is crazy because if they would have continued, they were actually really good. They were actually really good, and I think that they could have definitely, like, they were hanging out with Travis Porter, like they were kind of like moving a little bit, but at that time, like it was just so early in like those stages, you know what I'm saying, where you're just going through the motions, you don't fucking know, you know. But yeah, I do not, ladies and gentlemen, do not do that. That is a mistake.
What happened? What happened with that relationship?
With pleasure is what you saying.
Did you have a good time?
While it lasted, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying it wasn't conducive for business though, because if I'm telling them they gotta do something, he like, I don't gotta listen to you, you know. So it's just like,
because he felt like
I'm laying that thing down. Yeah. You talk to them niggas like that. You don't talk to me like that. You know, I lay that thing down. You talk to them like that.
That's what I'm saying. It was not conducive for business at all. So that's why it just like it didn't work. But it's like all the other guys, they were like on board. They listened to everything. It was just him. He didn't want to listen. Shout out to him. He's actually in the feds right now. He's doing like he's doing free him. He's doing like a 10-year bid. For like,
who is this group? Who is this group that you was managing? Who were they? You said they was with Travis. You said they was out with Travis Porter and everything. I'm gonna shoot. Can I shoot my shot real quick?
Yeah.
Was it 3 problems?
No.
Okay.
Oh, you trying to?
Oh, you thinking local for out here?
I mean, I thought it was local when she first started out.
No, St. Louis.
You talking about St. Louis?
Exactly.
But a group.
What group?
Okay, so she said St. Louis hanging out with Travis Porter. That was just 2010 around that time. That's what I was.
Yeah, but you probably right.
What I was getting ready.
Have you ever been in Nigeria?
Of course.
Tell me.
Yeah,
take us there, man. Yeah. Tell me something about that. How is that?
Huh?
How is Nigeria?
Like, what's the international life like? Oh man, it's like that. It's like that.
No,
that's so beautiful.
I'm sorry. I tried to sneak and eat some meat while.
Okay, cool.
Because I was still hungry. Nigeria is amazing. I love Nigeria. It's literally one of my favorite places in the world. I've been to a lot of places in the world, and Nigeria is probably one of my favorite places. It's just, you get to see life in like a whole different eyeglass, you know, like it's just different. It's different. Nigeria actually reminds me a lot of New York, actually, though, which is kind of crazy. Like Lagos, right? The main city is very much like New York, but just African style. It is African style. But where my family is from, where my tribe is from, is in the east. So I'm Igbo. So in Nigeria, they have literally over like 300 like tribes, languages, cultures. So I'm a part of one of the main three. So it's like
Igbo is a famous tribe.
Yeah.
Huh?
Igbo is a famous tribe.
Yeah, I'm Igbo. Oni is Igbo. That's Oni's not my real name, but Oni is my, like, I guess my nickname. But like Igbos, Yorubas, Hausa people, TV. There's so many. It's hard. You can't even start naming them. But yeah, Nigeria. I love Nigeria. I suggest for every single person in the world to go to Nigeria. It's fun. I had a good time. And that's coming from, like, even though my parents are Nigerian, I was not born in Nigeria. I was born in St. Louis City, just like everybody else.
Well, I mean, it's not about where you're born at. It's about growing up. You know, in your house, you grew up in a Nigerian household. That's a different type of lifestyle than a regular person from America growing up in the St. Louis city. You
know the culture. You know, they know their history.
It is, but it isn't, because it's like, it's weird. It's like, I feel like I grew up in two worlds at one time. Because like, there's a Nigerian household going on in my actual house, but as soon as I open the doors, but
you know your history though. So
I mean, porch. Like,
I understand that because it's going outside, but inside in your soul, you know your history. You know your dad.
Of course.
There's a big difference between usually African American. They don't know. They know today. They know what they went to school. They know that. They don't know their history, their lineage, Igbo, tribe. They don't know. They can't rewind.
Yeah, you talking about you moving to New York. Your daddy like, here, let me give you a bet. Let me get you this plane ticket and here go $200. You know what I'm saying? Go
it's
out there.
Different confidence.
See what you got going. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's weird because it's like, that's why, like, you know, some people, you know, back in the day, okay, see, now it's trendy, like, all right, to embrace, you know, Africanness and all that stuff. That's like trendy now. Like, it wasn't always like that. And, you know, I knew some African kids that didn't want to be African because, you know, people make fun, like, oh, you know, African booty scratcher, you know, all that kind of dumb ass shit.
It's kids, because kids are cool.
It's kid shit, you know what I'm saying? But I always felt blessed to know that I knew, like, all right, like you said, like lineage, knowing where, like, I could trace my entire, like I know. And that's something that I pray that but it's crazy because to me, just with the way that, like, the slave trade went, a lot of people are from West Africa. Like, they are, because it just makes sense geographically. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just because of, like, you know, the little triangle. Like, West Africa is right there. Like Nigeria, all those surrounding countries, like, that's where they took people from because the water was right there.
Yeah. But before then, you know, a lot of us came, you know, from different places. Yeah, before then. So
a lot of us was here already here when they got here too.
How do you be in the industry? How do you think we can control our narrative? Like, as far as like we like, as far as like hip hop is like the number one genre of like popular genre. Why do
it's like number one? Yeah.
Why do you think we feel like, I'm gonna use example like with the Grammy nods and all of that? Why do you think we need that solidification, like that credibility, to where it's like, if we're the number one genre, why do we still feel like we need to be accepted when clearly we have something going? Or why do you think it's so many heavy hitters of color in the industry? How come we just can't get behind one of our already awards and support that? Like, I've been hearing lately people say they're going to support the Soul Train Awards, but when you look in people's bios, like at Instagram, you never see like, okay, nominated 4-time Soul Train Award winner. Like people want that Grammy, that Grammy gratification. Like why do we feel like we still need to be accepted? Why do we feel like we need
for the Grammys?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like, you know, it's conflicting because you're right. It's like this is something that at the end of the day, back in the day, was not made for us, right? Exactly. It wasn't really made for us, but it's almost like that hoop dream, you know? It's like that, okay, like it's kind of, it's fucked up, but it's like in music, right? Like the most sought after and the most respected, you know, award is a Grammy. You know what I mean? Like that's what people look forward to and that's what they want.
Yeah.
But as people, like not even just Black people, not even just, you know, a certain demographic of people, as we become more woke to understand that these people aren't even connected to our culture. Exactly. They're not connected to our culture. They're not connected to people, period. It's like no one understands the schematics of how they choose these things, because obviously none of them have been on Earth for 2020. I'll tell you that. They were not a present on Earth for 2020 because obviously the people that won these things. But I also think too, right? It's almost like gymnastics, right? We can sit there and watch a girl flip her ass off, right? Flip, 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 and we think it's amazing. These are amazing flips. But then she gets like a 3 or like a 4 from the judges. So I don't know what system that they use to do the things that they do. I have no idea, but obviously like there needs to, just like Drake said, we really need to take the power out of those things and just, I don't know. It's just,
what's stopping us? I mean, because we have like some of the most powerful people in our genre. Like like you said, Drake just said that. What do you think is stopping us after all these years? And now because of the pandemic, like what do you think is everyone's waking up like, let's take control in our own. Like let's do this.
It's just like it's just that collective energy. You know what it is? It's like people can have a million ideas and a million thoughts on like what should be done or what should be right, and it has to be executed, and it has to be someone to stand up and be like, all right, cool, let's do this, let's make an award. But you guys have to understand too that what gives things value, guys, like okay, let me ask you guys a question. What makes a Rolex a Rolex? Why is a Rolex valuable?
It's just a name and a brand stable. That's all it is. It's just what's been the number one stable for a certain amount of period. Therefore, people deem it the best thing out there smoking. That's all.
It's the name.
Well, I would say
they can come out with a.
Well, I would say it's more because of the Rolex again was for people in a different caliber of us. If you had a Rolex, once you got that Rolex, you felt like you were up there with them. Now I can afford to get what they're getting now. Just like the same
and
thing.
The price range as well.
Yeah, just like the same, you know, you feel prestigious now. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like the same thing like certain clothing brands that weren't made for us, and then we became a free billboard for the clothing brands that weren't even made for us. And then we're complaining about, they're doing racist stuff, but they didn't even make it for us in the first place. They don't even have people behind the scenes that can relate to what our culture went through as, you know, certain aspects of, you know, like what went on way back when, as far as like slavery and what affects us. So I just feel like as far as going back to the Rolex, same thing with the Birkin bags. We buy into those things so we can feel prestigious. We can feel just as important as the person that's wearing it.
Well, okay, so all those points are very valid, but what I was trying to get to is, okay, look. So I'm gonna tell you, like, let's just say racism. Let's say take out black and white issue. Take out any of those things. What makes a watch or a timepiece, a Rolex special is the history, right? It's the history. It's the age of it. Like wine, the older a wine is, the more respected, the more valuable it is. That's what makes Rolexes as valuable as they are, obviously outside of the movement of the hand. It's the history.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
I say an established brand.
If you go in there, if you go around and ask some brothers about Rolex, what's the history? They probably say, I don't know. I just know this artist got a Rolex.
Right. Yeah. You know, people follow trends, but that's what makes these watches like for example, like a Richard Mille, right? A Richard Mille versus a Rolex. Like to me, just me personally, I don't own either one of these things, by the way, but to me, a Rolex is more valuable to me than a Richard Mille, because a Richard Mille is such a young watch. Like it's only been around like 30 years versus a Rolex that's been proven for hundreds and hundreds of years that this is like that's what it is. So I'm just circling that back to like an award show. So the Grammys are old. This is something that's been going on for years and years and years and years and years, that's been embedded in all of our heads and our culture since the beginning of any of us could ever remember. You know what I mean? So I think that's why like it would take 1 year and the year after that and the year after that. And as older as if people created a award program for the people and it just kept going year after year after year, it would gain more respect. You get what I'm saying? But it's just that the Grammys are the Grammys because what is it, 57 years of like people looking forward to these things. So I think that's what it has a lot to do with. You know what I mean? It's just that like respect, like, okay, whether like you're Black, whether you're white, everybody wants a Grammy. There's not like, you got to understand, it's artists like Justin Bieber getting snubbed from Grammys. Like it's like Justin Bieber, I don't see anyone who's white enough. Like I don't, it doesn't make sense for him not to have a Grammy. Do you get what I'm saying? Right. So they're out of touch on all levels, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, wait, Justin Bieber, I'm sure he might have a Grammy. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but he, like, even him, like,
no, he bitched about it too. He was mad about the Grammy.
He was upset about it too. So don't quote me on that.
He got mad because he wanted to do an R&B. He said that his CD was R&B, and he said, and they put it in pop. That's why he was mad.
I don't know. Does Justin Bieber have a Grammy though?
I don't know.
You know what?
I want to look that up because I'm not sure if he does, but it's a lot of artists that have felt snubbed by the Grammys, you know? But it's funny because it's a collective, it's a lot of people on the Grammy committee that you would never even like think that are on the Grammy committee, but I believe that their votes are so little. Like I just don't understand the system. It's like a secret society. They don't discuss like how they do those things, and it's just like
society.
Like, how did Noah Cyrus get nominated? Like
that's what I'm saying. Like it's not anything. And then also too, a lot of artists should be blaming their label because some of their labels do not submit them to the Grammys. There's deadlines.
Yeah.
So you really have to look at your label and make sure they actually submitted your shit to the fucking Grammys. Not.
I think snubbing people gets promotion. I think it helps them with the promotion. It's negative. They feel like,
Well, it's negative, but
just say if we gave Justin Bieber a Grammy, he probably feel like, everybody feel like this is supposed to happen. But if I snub him, they're gonna be talking about this for years.
All publicity is good publicity.
So, I guess the Grammys. So with that being said, and you have your digital marketing platform, is there anything else that you want to accomplish or get your hands into, or that you want to extend further within the industry?
Yeah, actually, so I'm supposed to be. So I started a new label. It's called All Bets Down. Hopefully, it'll be like officially launching. Like I've already like signed a bunch of artists. Like I'm looking for more artists and producers.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And hopefully that will be like one of the biggest talked about things of 2021. So yeah, that's like, and I'm always like, I'm not sure like where this is gonna run, but if anyone who wants to be a music business, that's an aspiring manager or an aspiring A&R or a person that does graphic design, like anything that has to do with music, and you're willing and ready to learn, like please hit me up. I'm 1,000% always wanting to build more people on my team, teach more people like different stuff. If you want to be a blogger, I have platforms. I run literally digital platforms that I run my marketing campaigns through, and people who want to be journalists, anything. Like I want to see my people win. Like this is an opportunity. The internet has created an opportunity for everybody to win. You just got to find a way. That's it. It's gonna take a while, but you just got to find a way.
Are you going to have a launch party for it?
I don't know. I'm gonna see.
Probably not with this COVID stuff. You never know what's going down.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to do just yet. Like I know it's probably gonna get launched like top of the year, and like that will be kind of cool to have a party. But I'm more so like the party for me is just my artist winning. Like that's all I want. Okay. So hopefully when I sign my artist, they'll come on your guys.
Yeah, no
send
doubt.
Them
Send them over here.
They will, yeah. You can sign us to the label. We'll be media.
Yeah, no doubt. I got another one. Question. I got another question for you. So with all of that being said, with artist development, how is that going right now with COVID and everything?
Luckily for me, like any artist that I was working with, like Dugg, for right now, like Dugg, he is on he's on like something called Tether, which is basically like kind of like a form of like I don't want to say house arrest, but it's kind of like that. But he's been allowed to work, so he was doing shows. We were doing shows like for months, like all throughout Corona. Pandemic really didn't stop anything for us. You know what I mean? So I feel very, very blessed in that way. Like I was still traveling, like even when Corona first started, like we were everywhere, So right now it's a little bit different because, he's gearing up to release his album. So he's just shooting videos. I'm, working with my clients. So yeah, it didn't really stop too much. Like look, when it comes to this type of shit, you have to just conform. Like not conform, but you have to figure out like how to make what you got going on work. Okay, you can't do shows. What the fuck can you do on the internet? Like, I'm about to start working with this app called Encore. And they're finding unique ways for people to just create more content, streaming content. So you guys look out for that. And maybe that could be something that we all talk about, offline on figuring out ways to, create, like they want to do some shit like versus kind of thing. But we could talk about that later. But I'll definitely love to keep a relationship going with you guys. And I appreciate y'all talking to me.
Yeah, same here. We appreciate you. Like,
yeah, no doubt.
You could have easily ignored the messages.
Yeah,
you could have easily just kept it moving. Like, dang,
you know what? I like them, but yeah, I don't like them like that. I don't know like them.
But no, we most definitely appreciate it. And again, this has been dope. Thanks for just like opening up to us, giving us your story, giving us some jewels. When it comes to the industry, taking time out of your day, and yeah, we definitely got to keep in touch and like keep it going, bro. And then you're from St. Louis as well, like you're right from
really
the hometown.
Yeah.
Do you ever come back often? No, you don't.
No, not really. I don't really like. Yeah. I hate to say that, but yeah, I don't really. My family is there. Like my sister lives there. My brother lives there. But every time I come to St. Louis, I'd be so bored.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I here? But then I'm in Detroit. But I moved to Detroit because one of my main artists, he lives here in Detroit. So it made sense for me at the time. But now, I'm about to, move on and do different things. So we'll see what happens. But that's the great thing about digital. You could literally live anywhere.
Did you find yourself, one last thing before we go, did you find yourself like, if you would have stayed in St. Louis, well, let me rephrase that. You met more connections moving outside of St. Louis, correct? Like being on the East Coast and being able to put yourself.
But I did meet a lot more people living in the East Coast. Cause I lived in New York, and then I also lived in LA. Cause one of the artists that like when I was younger, I got an artist signed to Atlantic, and I had to move Atlantic Records, and I had to move to LA with him. He was very young at the time. He was probably like 10 years old. No, was he like 11? He was like 9 or 10, one of those ages.
Dang.
And, you know, moving, obviously I wouldn't have met those people if I didn't think, but I don't like to say that to people because 10 years ago and now the culture is completely different. Like you could literally DM someone like a Sherry, she might answer. Back then, that wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't like you literally had to go physically meet these people. But the great thing is, like, for example, I'm meeting you guys on Zoom. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I still feel a connection to you guys. Like, all right, cool. I get great energy. I get great things from them. So now we can build on shit. So you don't have to be in Detroit or in New York or LA for that shit to happen. Like, right, but what's for you is for you, and it will always be for you, right? And one thing I'll say is this: don't, for me, like, all right, this is the advice that I would give to any person that feels like they have to move out of a certain place to get to where they want to be. All right, look, now, especially with the way that I think of the way that things are now, St. Louis is a very cost efficient city. Like when it comes to like your rent, like, all right, look, and I'm living in New York, even just living in an average place, I'm paying $2,200 for nothing. You know what I'm saying? To live in a fucking box.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But obviously, you guys know what the fuck $2,200 could do in St. Louis, but you don't even have to spend that. You probably don't even have to spend damn near probably $1,000, $1,200, and you could live perfect. And guess what? That extra $1,000 that you're saving on that, if you're smart and you go on Skip Lag, you can go and spend 2 weeks in this city. If you start building up relationships with different people via the internet, I'm telling you, there's only, what do they say, 7 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm promising you could find somebody somewhere with something and figure it the fuck out, where you still live in St. Louis, but you might spend a week in New York. You might go and spend a week in Dallas. You might go spend a week in Atlanta and build up your relationships and meet people. You know what I'm saying? So I always say it's easier to have a home base that's cost efficient, that's cheap, so that you can move around the way that you want to move around.
That's true.
You know?
You got any last thing?
Yeah, what was your first project you worked on? Major project.
As an intern, I want to say, was it whatever project that bro, I was literally 19. I'm 30 now. I'm old ass bitch, guys. But
no, you're not old. Say that.
Ambition by Wale.
Okay. You talk about
that might even right be there. That's one that's just sticking out of my mind. I don't remember what year I'm a Boss came out. No, what year that Amen came out. It's a lot of bad bitches in the building.
Yeah, Amen. That was 2010, I think. 2010, 11-ish. 11.
Okay, I remember I was Sherry. Sherry was the project manager on that Meek album. And I interned under her for that time, like when Ross had signed Omarion, like all that stuff. Like I had helped her put together the conference for that. Like they did like a boxing style conference. Like I really got to be a part of a lot of dope ass shit. I just cannot remember. I did digital stuff for like so many, like I was running like artists, like pages on Facebook, like big artist stuff that, you know, they don't have time to manage your stuff. That's what I was doing, like a label. So I'm trying to think, was Gucci? It's like 2010. I don't know. It was so long ago. I really, like, I'm going to think about that. Now that you told me that, I'm going to really think about that, because I literally did so many like small little, you know, things at that time.
No, that's a great thing.
Do you
been in these streets? That's great.
Do you find it hard to market an artist that has a lot of bad publicity? Like when we mentioned Wale, I was listening to a podcast and they were just saying like Wale actually has good music, but it's a lot of things that people put out there. that kind of like they don't include him in the conversation for some reason? Do you find like with certain artists that it may be hard to market that, even though the plate is there, the music is there?
Well, with somebody like him, well,
it doesn't have to be Wale. I just use that because I had just heard was listening to a podcast, and
I mean, as an artist, you have to get out your own way. You have to. I mean, I don't necessarily feel like anything can be spun. That's just what I personally feel. Like anything. I watched 6ix9ine, like literally, like the man was arrested for a fucking like, you know what he got arrested for. Yeah. I'm talking about before
he got arrested, right?
Before the RICO. I'm talking about back in the day.
Yeah.
The first thing that made people be like, oh my God, what the fuck? And I watched him and Academics completely spin that entire story to where people forgot about that shit and he became who he was.
But then it came back to where he thought he could do that again. It didn't work.
I mean, it didn't work because
they lost a lot of money.
Depending on who you ask, it did work because you have you have civilians who don't give a fuck about the streets. You know what I mean?
They say he didn't recoup though. They say he's in the red, like in the hole. Like he only what they say. They say he sold 50,000 as much money as they spent on the project. Like they were expecting before. Yeah, that's true.
It's not his money. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that is my personal opinion. I don't give a fuck. It's the label money. They're going to use it as a tax write-off. Who gives a fuck? He won. He got the advance. They probably gave him like $10 million. He won. He don't give a fuck.
That's true.
He don't give a fuck about these labels not going into the positive. They don't care.
Exactly.
Like what is that? It doesn't affect the artist. Like, okay, cool. Like the label will still spend some more money to try and get the most that they can get out of it.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Don't matter. That shit don't matter. He won. And it's sick. Like that is just a testament to, the culture and the way that things are. But he won. He won, but in real life, he lost because I know there's no way on earth he's happy. Like I know he's not happy. Yeah. So yeah, you're rich. Yeah, you got jewelry. Yeah, you got cars. You got houses. But I don't think you could wake up and I don't think you're happy on the insad.
Because you can't go check your mail without security. So hell no.
He's not happy. No way.
Before we get out of here, I do got 2 questions left for you. Just 2. The first one being, when you said you worked on the Amen project, is that the Meek Mill mixtape or was that the Maybach mixtape with Rick Ross and Stally and all of them?
So sorry. Say that one more time.
I said the Amen project with Meek Mill that you said you were somewhat a part of. I said, was that off of his mixtape that he had, the I think it was Dreams and Nightmares mixtape, or was that off the Maybach Music mixtape with Rick Ross, Stally, Omarion, and all?
I worked on that one too.
Okay.
Like I was there for that one too. Like Stally, like I was actually real cool as manager. Like I would try and help him out from here and there. Like Sherry would be like, yo, if his manager needs help, just help him, no problem. So yeah, I was a part of that too.
That's what's up. Good. How was Omarion in the studio? Was this before he had the hit with Chris Brown? The studio with Omarion. Oh man.
But again,
and so much. Another one before we get out of here, for the fellas out here, are you single?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. You 30. Is you gonna get married soon or what's up?
No, I'm not getting married.
But man, what you looking for? What you looking for in a man? That's the question.
Fuck a marriage. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I know that's not a good thing to say. I apologize.
She ain't looking for nothing.
Ain't nothing wrong with saying that. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
It's a new
contract anyways. Contract.
Somebody gonna put a ring on your finger. Watch you gonna love. He gonna love you like baby girl.
Shit, yeah, you talking that shit now. When you have the engagement, please invite us to the reception.
Because you just said it. We heard you.
Let's cover the reception, please.
I just do not see that in my future, but you never know. Who knows?
Okay, I just want you to know in your future, if it happens, you're gonna see a flashback Friday on TwistedYounginz where we have this very clip.
I'll never get married.
Yeah. I ain't never boy getting married.
Yeah. But
we won't do it like that. We ain't gonna put that out there.
We appreciate you coming out though and giving us some time of your day and everything like that. What do you have?
No problem. Y'all follow me from
We do follow.
Is it Mira?
Yeah,
Is it Myra or Mira?
Yeah.
Myra. Just DM me your personal page and the podcast page and all your personal pages so we could all keep in contact. All right.
Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna send you some stuff. I'm trying to get on that label if you like.
Okay, talk to me or don't talk to me at all.
All right. You have a good day.
You have a good day and appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, later, guys.
All right, later.